Year 5348. The withered, skeletal form of Gideon lies encased in a glass pod. He gasps over and over, scratching at the glass to break free. There is a hissing noise as the glass pod opens, and the robotic form of Eve, Gideon's assistant, appears and welcomes back her master. Year 5352. Gideon and Eve walk across a harsh desert landscape, and as Gideon takes some water from a flask, Eve informs him that she is sensing life forms. Gideon tells Eve that she is malfunctioning, that there is nothing. Everything is gone.
You were saying?
Eve asks as several hideous creatures appear before them. Year 5361. What is this? Why is there an X-mansion in the middle of Central Park? I must have missed the housewarming party, Gideon remarks as he, Eve, and the creatures appear before the ruins of the X-mansion. They make their way into the complex. The words "it started here" can be seen scratched into the wall. Gideon instructs Eve and the creatures to look for good and supplies, while he goes and sees what other goodies might be waiting for them. Gideon goes into some sort of supply room and runs his hand through the thick layer of dust on a bench before he locates a locker and pulls from it one of my cybernetic arms. Gideon returns to Eve and the creatures. Looks like one of Cable's time-traveling, gun-toting, who knows what else arms. I bet it makes a mean cup of coffee, too. Gideon remarks before Eve asks if it is still operational. Gideon tells her that if it isn't, he is sure there are enough gadgets around here to get it up and running. He holds my arm up over the creatures and announces that their struggle is over. We're leaving this time. And going home, he smirks. 13 years and 2 days ago. New Orleans. The rain pours down in the middle of the night, and Candra makes her way through her home. Hello? Who's there? She calls out, before she looks very surprised as Gideon, holding a machete, appears before her. Evening, Candra. It's been a while, Gideon declares as lightning crackles outside. 2 days later, in Gideon's secret base within Black Canyon of the Gunnison in Colorado, I roared in pain as Gideon's psychic army attacked me and my allies. Doop! We need a TK shield ASAP! Where's Doop? I called out. Someone wake Doop! I exclaimed. Despite the psychic attack, X-23 moves forward and punches Doop, who had been taken out of the battle earlier. Waking him, drooling, Doop rubs his head and utters something in his native language. Doop! We need a shield! I called out, and Doop replies, complying with the request. The Psi shield returns, and I tell my associates that Doop's shield will have bought us a minute at best. So we need to make it count. Longshot returns to the battle and throws his blades into several of the creatures, while Shatterstar slices his way through the psychics. X-23 does the same with her own claws, while Armor increases the armor around her body and swats the psychics away. Doop clutches his head and utters something before he is taken out again. I go over to him and tell Doop that he did good. I put Doop around my shoulders and tell everyone that we need to move out. We all race to an exit, and I declare that the longer we spend on these monsters, the more distance Gideon is going to put between us. Down a corridor, we come to a stop as a loud screeching noise sounds. The door ahead of us suddenly seals as a computer reports that a breach has been detected. The computer then initiates the self-destruct of the complex. No! I'm not dying in some stupid mustache twirler's dumb underground base. Armor shouts as she uses her armored form to bash against the door as the computer counts down from 10. I tell Armor to leave the door, as it is not going to give. It's the only way out, Armor replies, hanging her head. We're not going to make it out that way. Not in time, I announced. I then tell Armor that I needed her to do exactly what I say. Everyone, fall in, I declared. They all move in closer around me and Armor as the creatures move closer, and as the computer counts down to 1. There is a massive explosion that ripples through the complex. To Nasket, Washington, where the Blackbird jet that Gideon stole descends above Selene, Nicodemus, Crule, Absalom, and Blink. Gideon emerges from the jet and tells Selene that she is still looking good after all these years. Gideon tells Absalom, Crule, and Nicodemus that he is surprised to see them working with Selene again after what she did to them. He moves closer to the other externals and asks, "Are you whelps really so weak as to turn back to your abuser for protection? Even if the four of you were to defeat me, what makes you think that she wouldn't turn on you again?" He asks them. Selene grits her teeth and asks Gideon if that is the stance he is going to take, that they should just split up. Let him kill them because of something she did 10 years ago. "You're just as much of a pompous ass as I remember, Gideon. I'm going to take great pleasure in killing you again," Selene declares, before lashing out at Gideon, who leaps back, dodging Selene's attack, before he blasts her with a power surge and knocking Selene back. Gideon tells her that she isn't just fighting him anymore. She is fighting Candra, Burke, and Saul as well. Selene falls to the ground, and Gideon hovers over her, explaining that their spirits, their powers, are now his, and that means he outnumbers her. 5-4. Selene warps the landscape around them, raising the ground under Gideon. She uses it to knock him backwards and tells him that his speeches are as bad as his math. "The 5 of us will have your head for what you've done to the others," Selene declares, before turning to her associates. "Don't just stand there, idiots! Attack!" She snaps at them. As Crule moves towards Gideon, Absalom suddenly shoves his spiked hand through Crule's chest.
"Absalom, you traitor!"
Selene calls out. Absalom declares that Burke was right, and that he is so tired of this life. He adds that he has lived long enough, and he just wants it to end. "Clearly, you're not capable of giving me what I need, so I've sided with the one who is," Absalom reveals, as Crule lands on the ground with a thud. "Tell me, Selene, why did you stop all those years ago? You were so close. Just one external shy of eliminating us all." Gideon grins as he blasts Selene at close range. Selene uses the ground as a shield, warping it upwards to block Gideon's next attack. "You must have been able to taste it, to feel it," Gideon tells Selene, who exclaims, "Shut up! I can't take another word of your—" But Gideon interrupts her and boasts that with each life, each external, he is that much closer to godhood, ready to take what you couldn't, he declares. Blink watches as Gideon blasts through the ground that was protecting Selene. Then Absalom lashes out at Selene. "I've got her, Gideon!" he calls out, before Blink moves in. "Selene!" she exclaims as she crouches beside Selene, who utters, "Blink, get us out of here!" And an instant later, Blink teleports herself and Selene away as Gideon fires another powerful blast at her. "Damn it!" Gideon snaps as he lands on the ground where Selene was, now scorched thanks to his blast. "I guess that 2 out of 4 isn't terrible for a day's work," Gideon remarks, looking at Absalom, who tells Gideon to take his life and make it 3. "No," Gideon replies as he starts to walk towards Nicodemus' body. "We had an agreement. I spy on Selene and the other externals, and you end my suffering," Absalom declares. Gideon reaches over Nicodemus and tells Absalom to get off his knees as he is embarrassing himself and angering him. "I have every intention of following through on my promise, but until Selene is defeated—" "You are of use to me," Gideon explains as he rips out Nicodemus's heart. Back in Colorado, at the ruins of the Ofra Industries facility, there is a rumbling and a clatter under the masses of rubble as a large armored fist pushes up through the concrete and steel. "Oh my God, I didn't know I could do this. So cool," Armor gasps from within the massive armored form that she has created. We're all floating inside it as well. I tell Armor that she did great and that she can power down now. Armor does so and lets us down to the ground, asking me if I knew she could extend her force field that far. I did, Without you, we would have been dead, I replied. I thanked Armor. Before asking Shatterstar for a status report, Shatterstar announces that Gideon took the Blackbird and asks how we are supposed to get out of here now. We walk, I declared as everyone begins to trudge through the rubble. Disappointed. Are you for real? We're in the middle of nowhere, Longshot exclaims. You're not wrong, I agreed before Shatterstar asks me if I can't body slide us out of here. Confused. I thought that was a thing you did, Shatterstar remarks. I explained that it used to be, but it has been a while since I had been able to do that. Pretty sure I saw you do it recently, Shatterstar declares. I tell him that must have been the past me, but I cannot. Time-traveling mutants are impossible to keep track of. Shatterstar frowns, while Doop, hovering next to him, utters something in his Doop-speak language. Armor asks me how we are going to find Gideon, to which I reported that I am working on it. When suddenly, there is a blinding light. We'll bring you to him if you promise me that you'll kill him, Selene announces as she and Blink appear through a portal.